we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off track. These help us remember.
These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Growing up I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians or choose to be an accountant because it's safe in the business. Not because they wanna do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes. This day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to a label and making money through rapping. I wanna share my emotion because this world is attacking the very principle of life that lets the people be happy. If you don't have a reason to breathe, why even live? These battle scars are impressions of everything that it is.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Now, if I had a voice that reached 100 million people, I'd tell them there's a reason that we're all created equal. Cause some decide to be great and some decide a sequel to an average person's life is simply what they want to be. So you make your decision, all I know is what I'm given. Won't define the life I lead or the way I dwell in existence. I've seen a greater image on the walls of where I'm living, and the words twisted and scripted remind me of something written. Faith is a gift that is given down to the people. If one believes it, one receives it. It's given if it is needed. Don't ever think you're trapped in a life that you never wanted. Your options are infinite, that's some mathematical logic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers and these battle scars on my church. Not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers, these battle scars on my church.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Okay, hello everyone, and I am sorry the video quality is not good, and that light isn't as given. I'm trying to get decent lighting. I am in Virginia at the Libertarian Party of California, and I'm going to try to bring up a chat on another screen here because this has to be interactive because I want to know what you guys... Let me try to bring up the chat on this screen. What questions you guys may have, I'll address this. And I see a super chat, and I'd like to see it. Thank you, Fidalgo Files. It popped up on my screen. Let me pull up here the comments screen. There you go. Thank you so much. So now I can see the chats. I'm on my computer mic. I'm obviously on quite terrible video. But a lot of people had asked me questions, and I didn't want to wait. Again, a fuller video will be coming out when I'm back home, but I'm in an Airbnb. I'm getting ready to go to the LP Virginia convention just to enjoy the convention. I've also been retained by the caucus in Virginia to assist them. So... this whole thing is actually quite disturbing. So let's go back a little bit. So the Delaware situation got appealed to the Judicial Committee. The Judicial Committee came out in favor of the rightful affiliate. But now here's where the LNC And I have to word this super carefully. I obviously have no love lost for this LNC. So my automatic bias is going to be critical. And I want you guys to take that into consideration in everything I said, that you have to filter things out through my bias. And it's an early show, DJ, because I'm on the East Coast now. It's not that early for me. I actually got to scoot out of here real fast. I'm actually going to be late to my initial meeting. Not late to the convention. There is a pre-convention meeting. But this is super important to address. So this is going to be a quick show. Super chats are welcome, though. And hopefully I'll expand upon it. I'll probably repeat on a lot of what was said today. But I wanted to get an explanation out there because this is a very rapidly developing story. So first, I got out the fact that please filter everything through the bias you know I have. But I think I can overcome the bias because this is just objectively now an LNC that is deciding to absolutely disregard the systems of quote-unquote justice that are in place. They already did that with me. When you deny an officer a trial, when you deny an officer due process, when you lie, there was absolute lies in my quote-unquote removal. Aaron Adams lied about me, never retracted it. The whole thing was a complete sham. But okay, that's what happens. And I didn't get the justice I deserved with the Judicial Committee. Did I like that Judicial Committee decision? No, I didn't. But you want to know what? I'd rather have a Judicial Committee I don't like than no Judicial Committee at all. You win some, you lose some. I figured I will get my justice in Reno, and I would complain about it as an average member. That's the way it goes. It's the system I signed up for. I don't like it. I am working to change it. So then Delaware came around, and my advice to them was you may win, you may lose in the Judicial Committee, but that's the route that you have, so let's take it. So they did the Judicial Committee route, and they won. But do you think how would the LNC handle a Judicial Committee decision they don't like? Would they go, well, we're just going to have to leave this in the hands of the delegates at Reno? No, they decided they're just going to ignore it. If the JC had reinstated me, would they have just ignored that? That's what you have to wonder now, because this LNC has decided it's above the law. It's above their own law. They're just going to do whatever they want. You have Susan Hogarth pretending like nothing has happened and calling anything that's going on just drama, not really realizing that people's actual lives are affected. Like, friendships have just been absolutely demolished. I had to see her last night, and it was like one of the most painful things because we used to be friends, and she just backstabbed the hell out of me and would like to pretend like she's righteous and nothing had ever happened. But, you know, that's a whole other thing. That'll take me a while to get over. But so the JC decision decided that Amy and Bill are the rightful officers of that party. So ever since that decision, the LNC never switched to the official affiliates website. Now remember, at the time of the coup, Will McVeigh had charge of the website. It was lpdelaware.org, and that's who was linked on the LNC's official page. They were notified that was no longer the website, and that's when we went through this whole thing, okay? And we finally have a decision that says Bill Hines is the rightful chair. The minute that decision came out, the LNC was asked to switch to the rightful affiliates website. And I wrote them and said, why are you helping to perpetuate a fraud? Because the wrongful affiliates website is asking for money. So we're not even just talking about fraud in the abstract sense that you might be sending people to the wrong affiliate. We're talking about fraud in the monetary sense, where the LNC is linking to people where they might be giving money to an organization that's not the actual affiliate of the party. They are opening themselves up to legal obligation. I'm wondering if they're still giving data to that. So it surprised me immediately that they didn't switch the website. And then you have people like John Phillips, who, I'm sorry, I know he can be a super nice guy. I know he makes beautiful knives that he donates to affiliates to auction off. And sometimes they reach up to $1,000. That is a very, very good deed that he does. And I'd never take that away from him. But that doesn't make him a good LNC member, and it doesn't make him a good person in general. So he, from the beginning, has been saying, and him and Aaron Adams both, there's already a problem when you, and I'm saying this as someone who's quote-unquote guilty themselves. I'm married to the state chair of Colorado, and I'm the secretary of Colorado. But Wayne and I very rarely walk in lockstep. We have totally different styles. But it can be a problem when you have a couple on a governing board. And the higher the board gets, the more quote-unquote power or authority they get, the more problematic it becomes. So you have Aaron and John, who are a couple, and they have every right to do that. We don't have any kind of rule against that. But you do have to wonder, it becomes difficult. Are you getting a 2-for-1 deal? And that's always what I say with Wayne on the board. Don't fight my battles for me. People shouldn't have to think that they're battling, you know, the Harlow's couple. If they have an issue with me or if they have an issue with you, it should be with you and not with you and me. So you got Aaron and John both saying that, oh, we should not saying outright, but basically saying, and Richard Longstreth, oh, this is a rogue JC, and we should maybe not even obey their decision. You don't have an option to obey their decision. That's what our bylaws provide. Are you now just an openly rebelling LNC? And here is the issue. You can think their decision is wrong. You can think they're a rogue JC. But you want to know where you do that? On your personal pages. You don't use party assets that everyone pays for and has a right to expect that you will follow the decisions of the Judicial Committee, because that's the contract between the party and its members. And I see my videos a little glitchy. I'm sorry. I'm at an Airbnb. I can't control the internet here. But they're just like saying nope, and they're using assets that you pay for in order to insult the JC. Now, here's what's funny. And you can insult the JC all you want. I've done it a million times. I do it on my own YouTube channel. I do it on my own personal social media. You don't do it on party assets. And the funny thing is, by going on party assets, Mr. Longstreth, holier than thou, Ms. Adams, Mr. Phillips, you are breaking the same social media policy, the same decorum policy that you allegedly removed me for. But it's never rules for you guys, is it? You're going on there openly insulting the integrity of the Judicial Committee, who was elected, and I've done it, but not on official party channels, that were elected by the delegates at convention, but you get no repercussions for it. You either apply the rules equally or you don't apply them at all. But the only people you apply the rules to are people like me and Joshua Smith, who criticized you. See, it's okay for you to criticize everybody else, isn't it, you fucking hypocrites? So where we're at now is Whitney said, I need to carefully review these findings before I issue any directives to national staff as to how to handle Delaware. What do you mean you need to carefully review it? The JC told you who the chair was. The chair told you you are linking to the wrong site. Link to the right site. So what Whitney did, and with this, officially, Whitney is the worst chair this party has ever had. She's just an awful, awful chair. The only hesitation I have in saying she's the worst chair we had is because she was never elected by the delegates. And I tend to like to rank people on the LNC for LNC historical purposes. As to the ones that were actually elected by the delegates, Whitney was never elected by the delegates. She was appointed by the LNC. So out of the chairs that were elected by the delegates, Nick Sarwark has been both the best and the worst chair we have ever had. Out of chairs that have actually held the position, whether they were elected or not, Whitney is by far the worst chair we've ever had. She hasn't made a right ruling yet. The one time she made a right ruling, I was like, great, I finally, because I like saying at least one nice thing about somebody. I mean, I have a couple nice things I could say about Whitney, like, that have nothing to do with her job performance. Like, she's got beautiful hair. She's a pretty girl. You know, I could say a lot of very complimentary things about her. Nothing has anything to do. Her hair is gorgeous, by the way. She has the thickest, most beautiful hair that I am so jealous of. But I can't say anything good about her performance. Her performance is terrible. She's a terrible chair. She doesn't know Roberts. She's an unpleasant person. She didn't used to be that way. I don't know if something happened in her personal life. She used to be quite a pleasant person on the LNC, and she's just turned into a terrible person on the LNC. And she was that before she ever ruled against me. You know, she just, most people on the LNC, I talk to a lot of them, and I do have a little bit of opinion about the cowardice of some of the good people on the LNC, too. But none of them like her. She's just a terrible, terrible chair. And I hope she's not that way in Texas. She has to be nicer in Texas. So, I have her decision here. She says, after reviewing the findings, rulings, and opinions of the Judicial Committee. Well, you apparently didn't read the opinion, because you never would have come to the conclusion you just came to. And I'm going to say this right off. I hope I'm wrong. I hope what I'm reading is not malice. I hope what I'm reading is just incompetence. Neither of those conclusions are flattering, but at least one of them's not evil. But I've seen too much, and I've been too much a victim of these people to not believe it's malice. But I want to get right out in front here. I could be wrong about the grand plan here. I could be overly paranoid, but I think everyone knows I've got good reason to be paranoid about this LNC, but I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I could be wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. I haven't been wrong yet, but maybe I'm wrong. And once again, just because I don't even have my grifting along the bottom here. How can I have a show without I don't have that on this computer. This is why. If you like this kind of inside baseball content, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/Pink Flame of Liberty. I would truly, truly appreciate it. And of course, super chats are always welcome, like Fidalgo File did for me earlier. They go to help my campaign. So she says, after reviewing the findings, rulings, and opinions of the Judicial Committee in the matter of LP Delaware, the LNC notes the following. This is Whitney's biggest problem. The LNC didn't note a damn thing, Whitney. You did. I know you think you are the LNC, but you're not. And you have no authority to go on the LNC list and say, the LNC notes the following. Has there been an LNC vote, Whitney? Or have you just decided, like you have for this whole term, that you are queen? The LNC has noted nothing. You have. And our structure isn't that you are the queen. I know you like to think you are. Like, let me give you a prime example of Whitney's attitude. In our first meeting together, I noted to her that the LNC has had a certain custom. And you want to know what she said to me? That's not my custom, Miss Harlos. The LNC isn't about you, sweetheart. It is the LNC's custom. It's not the chair's custom. She really, really thinks the LNC revolves around her. That's not in parliamentary law either, Whitney, how custom works. It's the custom of the body. The body exists independent of its individual members, which can come and go. But that right there, that's not my custom. And it was in exactly that voice too, that very imperious, like, are you questioning me, peasant? Voice. So she says the LNC notes the following. No, it doesn't, Whitney. You note the following. The LNC hasn't made a vote, and it needs to. And I do not know why. What went on in the LNC last night was an utter embarrassment. And the fact that Susan and all of those, John and all of those people who would have hopped on me, if they sense the slightest bit of aggression or decorum, are saying nothing right now when it's their own cronies. She says the JC issued one ruling amongst its motions. No, it didn't. It issued 3 rulings. But she obviously didn't read through the opinions very well. And she goes to the ruling without taking into consideration the reasoning behind the ruling. And she's very pedantically interpreting this ruling. And I hope the JC comes out with a clarification, because this is what government does. They try to find a loophole and a way around things. So she says, thus we rule to reinstate the LP Delaware's affiliate, recognizing its officers, Mr. Hines as chair, and the other duly elected board members, including Dr. Laporte and Mr. Casey, chosen by that affiliate under its properly adopted rules as they stood prior to the events of October 1st. She is completely misreading this ruling. I know Miss Whitney thinks she's an attorney, but she's not. Neither am I. But I am a paralegal, which I think gives me a little bit of authority on how to interpret rulings, though I am not engaging in the unauthorized practice of law. Thank you, the cartel known as the bar. I'm just telling you my opinion as a paralegal, not as an attorney. What the JC decision is saying is Hines and Laporte exist as chair, vice chair, and I forget if Mr. Casey's at large. I think he's in chat. He can let me know. But they are duly elected to the board. That the events of October 1st, which removed them, are no longer valid. That's all it says. That's all that says. So she says, it is known that the following individuals were elected at the June 2021 convention of the LP Delaware and comprise the LP Delaware board as of the date to which the JC is reverting. The JC is not reverting to that date, Whitney. You are misreading the ruling. The JC is reverting to the officers that were removed as of that date and saying they were never rightfully removed. The way Whitney is interpreting this, which is completely and utterly dishonest, because she's not a stupid woman, and wrong, is she's interpreting this as everything that has happened in the past couple months, it's all wiped out, and we are reverting back to like a Windows reset point of October 1st, and we're wiping out everything that's happened since October 1st. Hope everyone's really following this, because this is very, very important. So she's acting like everything just resets to October 1st. That is not what the JC ruling said. The JC ruling is saying what Will McVeigh did on October 1st is null and void. She's not saying, the JC didn't say that anything else that has happened since October 1st is null and void. She is saying, the JC is saying, I'm saying she because Alicia Matson wrote the majority opinion. So if I ever say she, it's because a she was speaking on behalf of the Judicial Committee. So Whitney is acting like everything has been frozen now since October 1st, and nothing that's happened since then is valid. So she's insisting that she will not honor the JC decision unless all of the people who were members of the board as of October 1st remain members of the board. That's not what the JC says. The JC didn't touch any of that. The JC has no authority to touch any of that. All the JC said is that the removed board members were never removed. So anything that those removed board members did, because they carried on the work of the affiliate. They did not recognize what Will did. So that board, we'll call it the Hines board, has continued forward and has conducted business since October 1st. And Whitney is unilaterally saying, and this is interfering in the autonomy of an affiliate. But I doubt we'll see Beth Vest saying anything about this. She's claiming that nothing that has happened since October 1st is valid. So what has happened since October 1st? Some people can correct me if I'm wrong. There's been some board members that have resigned. So Whitney's refusing to recognize those resignations. And Will McVeigh, Joe DePasquale, there's several board members that have been suspended pending a trial. Oh, a trial. Wow. So Delaware is going to give obvious bad actors better due process than the LNC ever gave me. So she's saying unless this board exists as it did October 1st, she's not going to do a thing. That's not what the JC says, and she has no authority to unilaterally say this is what the LNC is going to do. And she said with regard to the website, the LNC prior to October 1st linked to lpdelaware.org, and we're going to continue to do that, even though the rightful chair has asked for it to be switched. She says, therefore, the LNC awaits confirmation that the LP Delaware board exists now in the configuration it did prior to October 1st. She has no right to demand that. So let me tell you the implications of what she's saying. Now, she might not mean these implications. But if she does, honestly, if she does, she should be removed from the LNC for gross interference in the autonomy of an affiliate, dereliction of duty, and dishonesty. But this could just be incompetence. So she's insisting, outside of a JC decision, that everything be frozen back to October 1st, and that they'll continue to link to lpdelaware.org unless she gets confirmation that the board exists as it did in October 1st. That is not what the JC decision said. So what Whitney is unilaterally doing is reinstating people who resigned, and the implications of what she's saying is that Hines and Lepore had no authority, because they were in this alleged frozen period, which the JC doesn't say, to suspend McVeigh, DePasquale, and I believe the treasurer, Mary Pat McVeigh, the two McVeighs. So she's reinstating out of suspension people she has no authority to do. And you want to know what else this does? Is she could be potentially trying to say that the notice of convention for the legitimate affiliate that was sent out is invalid. So she's trying to invalidate an actual convention that's scheduled for March 26th, and she is doing wink, wink to Will McVeigh, just go ahead and do what you did before. Just do it the right way this time. Will McVeigh is under suspension. He can do nothing right now. But Whitney Bilyeu is taking it upon herself to say that none of that was valid. At least, if you take what she said here consistently and seriously, and she has no right to do that. So people asked what the recourse is. What do you do when the LNC just disregards its rules? I don't know. I can tell you one avenue you need. You need an LNC decision to be made, not a unilateral ruling of the chair. Is a unilateral ruling of the chair a decision of the LNC? I think it is. The JC might not agree. If nobody appeals it, that means they agree. That is a decision of the LNC. Members need to appeal this. Members need to appeal this now. And you want to know what? I wasn't for this before, but I honestly think at the beginning of this convention, honestly, with this crap, the entire I don't even want to say the entire, because there are some good people on the LNC, but I don't think you can do this tactically. I think you need to, at the beginning of the convention, remove the whole lot of them. Then, Joshua made a post, and I know some people are going to be very critical of Joshua, and I'm going to be critical of Joshua up to a point. But when you're dealing with corrupt leaders like this, to insist that the people, so I'm going to disagree with you entirely, Daniel, because Daniel Lutz is saying Smith isn't positioning himself to be a positive force. You can't be positive in the face of evil. You just can't. You are hobbling. When you have people who say that they're above the rules, what do you do? What do you do? Sometimes you just have to come out nuclear, because everyone is helpless before this. Now, do I agree with the way Joshua handled this whole thing? No. But he's the only one who is saying a thing. And the way Matthew Buffman came at him, the fact that Matthew Buffman has not yet been rebuked by any of these self-righteous fuckers on the LNC, they're going to come after Joshua. But nobody is saying a thing. Nobody is saying a thing to Matthew Buffman with the way he's behaving right now. Where is the politeness police? Where is Laura Epke? Where is Susan Hogarth? Where are all of these people who are so concerned? Now, so I'm going to read you this exchange. The LNC made an utter embarrassment out of itself last night. And really, most of them should just resign right now. And I do think this convention, at the very beginning, should just remove these people and appoint new convention officials. And I'm going to do a different video about a little bit of a negative ad that John Wilford took out against me. And shame on him. Shame on him. So Joshua's first post was excellent. Madam Chair, first of all, I'd like to make it very clear that the LNC notes nothing. Joshua is completely right. The LNC noted nothing. Whitney went way, way outside of the bounds of her authority and is awaiting nothing, as you have made this judgment without a meeting on such an issue with the LNC. He's absolutely right. You are not the entirety of this board, and you don't call the shots on issues that have already been settled by both this board and the Judicial Committee. Joshua is absolutely right. Second, the LPDE has already held trials, and the 5 members who took part in the illegal coup have been suspended after pending trials or having been judged guilty and their suspension upheld. Suspensions have been upheld on the county level. Will McVeigh's trial is still coming. Joshua has the facts a little wrong here, but he has the intent right. That Whitney cannot just unilaterally decide things. And I agree with you, Daniel, that shit slinging got into after that. I do not blame Joshua for that because he didn't start it. I'm sorry. You cannot hold the good people to say that they cannot respond in kind when you're not talking about violence, when the other side is refusing to obey any rules. That is just further victimizing good people, and I will not do that. I wouldn't have responded the way he did. But I'm not going to get into blaming the victim here. I'm not going to get into saying the lady who was assaulted on the street maybe retaliated against her aggressor a little dirty. Like maybe she shouldn't have kicked him in the nuts. I'm not going to be the person to do that. I'm not going to re-victimize people. Says, so, he goes on to talk about their suspension. Says, again, we are awaiting nothing. The board and membership body have done what they said they would. The JC issued a judgment and the LNC passed a motion. The only thing left to do now is to send the letter that recognizes the rightful members of the LPDE XCOM and affiliate as they found in their special meeting, as is your fiduciary duty. He is exactly correct. I shouldn't have to motion this, but is that what you are going to make me do? Joshua, if you're watching, you need to do this right now. Right now. Don't wait. And then John Phillips comes in. And John Phillips, I don't know what happened to this man. Well, Mr. Smith, well, that's right there not very decorous, is it? If you think the JC is empowered to interfere in a state affiliate, then their directions were clear. If you do not, then their directions don't matter. So John Phillips is saying ignore the JC. You can't have it both ways. John, you are not understanding what he's saying. You're correct. You cannot have it both ways. Joshua made it clear that the JC made a decision and the chair needs to follow. And all the chair said was she was waiting on their confirmation that they will follow the JC's improper edicts. No, she wasn't. She went way beyond what the JC said. And for you to be using party assets to insult the JC, and again, I'm not saying it's immoral to insult the JC. I've done it. You just can't do it on the LNC list. You are completely out of order, Mr. Phillips. You are a complete fucking hypocrite for thinking you got to remove me when you've been doing everything you said I've done. Resign. And here's Matthew Buffman, and he should also be gone. His region should be removing him. His behavior here has no excuse. Now, should Joshua have responded in kind? I wouldn't have. But I'm not going to condemn him for it. I wouldn't have. I wish he hadn't. But I'm not going to condemn him for it. I think that is the exact wrong move. That we're spending time here criticizing Joshua when we have the LNC chair acting like this, and then Mr. Phillips, Mr. Self-Righteous, come in and act like this, and then Mr. Buffman, who's still a cop on the LNC, acting like this. And I mean a bad cop. Because I'm not saying all police officers are bad. I'm not the hugest fan, but I'm not at all implying that you can't be a libertarian and a police officer. I think it'd be very, very difficult. God bless you if you pull it off. It says, LOL, okay, Josh. Last time I checked, you didn't call the shots either. He didn't say he called the shots. He was referring to our rules and saying he should make a motion. The fact that Mr. Buffman is even still on the LNC after these posts is a shame. Your childish behavior and passive-aggressive insults directed to the chair, they weren't passive-aggressive. They were stating fact. Do us all a favor and resign. Cheers, chief kiss, be well. You resign, Mr. Buffman. Your posts were completely inappropriate, and I am waiting for the moral, self-righteous police of the LNC to come in and publicly rebuke you like they would have done to me in a second. But they won't. What just happened on the LNC list last night is such an utter embarrassment. And Joshua responded in kind. I wish he didn't. I'm not going to go over it. Well, let's do the first one. Maybe I will read the exchange. Matt, with all due respect, who the heck are you? He's another LNC member, but he doesn't do anything on the LNC. The fact that he even showed up to post, go look how much he posts. He does nothing. Aren't you a cop or something? That shouldn't have been said on the LNC list. On my channel, fine. But again, I'm not going to blame Joshua after Matthew came for him. Matt pulled the shots. And then here's Matt again. I can ask the same question. Who the heck are you? Well, Joshua's somebody who does more posting on the LNC list than you, Matt. But thank you for proving my point. Don't quit your day job, whatever that is. This is just ridiculous. Then Tim Hagen just simply says, the conversation isn't productive. You can't bring yourself to condemn Matt, can you, Tim? You can't bring yourself to say the chair was completely out of line, can you, Tim? Can you be any more cowardly, Tim? And then Joshua responds in kind, and Matthew goes, LOL, international podcaster. He is an international podcaster. Listen, Matt, you can't have it both ways. Either my reach was so big and I had to be punished because I have a YouTube channel and it's significant, and oh my goodness, you were criticizing us, and Joshua has a bigger channel than me, or LOL. You can't have it both ways, guy. What happened last night is completely embarrassing to the LNC. Is this the behavior of the third largest political party on their official list? Again, I don't care what they do on their personal social media. Now, they should care because they were so concerned about mine. Have you seen the way John Phillips has been behaving lately on his personal social media? Yet he dared to try to remove me from my personal social media? Again, let me be clear. I'm consistent. I don't care what he does, but I'm asking him to be consistent. But his behavior, Matthew Buffman's behavior on the LNC list was an absolute embarrassment. The chair went far beyond her authority, and she needs to be reined in. Did Joshua respond in kind and I wish he didn't? Yes, I wish he didn't. But I am not going to victim blame. I'm not. I'll tell you I disagree, and that's as far as I'm going to go. Concentrating on Joshua here is so completely unjust. This chair has just usurped the entire authority of the LNC, has purposely warped what the Judicial Committee said, and is completely shitting all over our bylaws. Now, I wasn't in favor before of a motion to remove her at the beginning of convention. If she doesn't do the right thing here, yes, I am. Get Dr. Lark or somebody completely neutral to chair the Reno convention. I do not believe she can be impartial with what she just did here. She doesn't even try to appear impartial. This is a sham. And what do? Really, the only recourse if she refuses is for Delaware to sue them. But who does that end up harming? Whose money does that end up coming out of? The membership. And I'm not a fan of suing the party. I could have in my removal. They broke so many rules. They engaged in so much defamation, but I didn't sue them, and no matter how many times they said I threatened to, no, I didn't. I did the exact opposite of threatening to. But it's getting to the point where perhaps legal action is the only recourse Delaware has. But Reno's coming up. I would recommend just waiting till then. But this LNC can do a lot of damage before then. So Joshua, or any other LNC member, you need to make a motion to have the LNC make a decision. Now, perhaps the LNC will agree with what the chair said. Then members can appeal. That is the only recourse we have. And until there's an actual motion, but I do think the inaction of the LNC is an action. As Rush said, if you choose not to make a choice, if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. I think deciding not to do something is making a decision. But I would rather see an actual vote so that there's no question, so that we can appeal. So Joshua, make the motion. Somebody make the motion. The fact that it's the next day and we've only had this, and Tim Hagen's cowardly, this isn't productive, this is embarrassing. One of you good LNC members, you need to do something now. So I've got to get going. I'm already running late. So I'll talk to you guys later, hopefully with better video quality, but it might be from this Airbnb. If anyone from Virginia is watching this, I'm on my way to the donut shop right now, and I will see you in a little bit. Love you all. I'm going to go tell them on Discord I'm coming. So hopefully that helped clarify some things. And send me your questions if there's anything you think I wasn't very clear on. Okay, that's it for today. Let me do the closing thing, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians, or choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business. Not